on the 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th of October. We're going to have a 4-day intensive EFT level 1 intensive skills for people who want to begin learning more about EFT, emotion focused therapy. Do you want to take us through day by day what is this training about?
Right, so this is designed as a level 1 training. We start off with theory, but the theory is always supported by videotapes. So I'll start off firstly with a much more in-depth look at what is emotion, what's its function, how does it operate in the internal workings of the mind. And I'll talk about emotion schemes and emotion schematic memory, which are different to cognitive schemas, and highlight that emotion schemes are experience and action producing, whereas cognitive schemas produce beliefs in language. So I will contrast emotion and cognition, and highlight that emotion often underlies cognition. I'll then talk about emotion assessment and talk about different types of emotion, primary, secondary, and instrumental emotion, and the importance of making process diagnoses. Then I'll talk about principles of emotional change, which include awareness, expression, transformation, and other regulation and reflection to make meaning. So we'll talk about principles of emotional change, and that will be and I'll demonstrate that using videotapes, and that'll be the first day. The second day we'll begin to focus on method, and I will focus on self-critical processes. We will show videotapes and explain the process of using a 2-chair dialogue. And then the afternoons will be filled with experiential skill training. So an important part of this training is it will have didactic theory, it will have videotapes, but then most importantly, it'll have experiential training. And to work with emotion, to learn to work with emotion, you have to have real emotion. So we invite people to work on their own personal self-experience in the skill training. So there it'll be broken into small groups, and people will work with each other on personal issues that have emotional significance to people. So these will be confidential, they'll be therapeutic, but they are for training, they're not therapy. On the next day, I'll focus on working on significant interpersonal problems with attachment figures. So we'll work on unfinished business, resolving unfinished business, also in a 2-chair dialogue, but now a different, I call it an empty chair dialogue. Same structure, there'll be didactic, there'll be tapes, and there'll be personal work in the afternoons. And on the final day, we'll look at other interventions, focusing. Janlin developed an approach called focusing, and we use focusing in a particular way within an emotion-focused therapy. And we'll talk about self-interruption. I'll talk a little bit about working on different kinds of problems. And again, we will work again in the afternoon in a more skill-oriented way. The skill training involves live supervision, where I and some facilitators, we go to the different groups and we guide people who are being therapists in how to intervene.